Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome back to my latest video. For those of you who are new, I like to make these videos about films that I enjoy and want to share. I try to focus on the ones that I enjoy rather than trying to hammer at the ones that I didn't enjoy and just weren't for me. But sometimes when I'm revisiting a franchise or checking out a remake or a prequel, I might address one I didn't care for so much. And of course, if you enjoy this video, please give me a little thumbs up and consider both subscribing and hitting that little bell icon to get notifications for when I put up new content, which is between 1 to 3 times a week, depending on what's going on. Check out my back catalog, share this video and channel around, and stick around to the end because it really does help out quite a bit. Okay, now that all that's out of the way, I have another remake review, a proper remake, not a requel or a prequel or anything. Or just adding "the" to the title, like we have with The Suicide Squad or they do it on so many things. Anyways, this one is for The Evil Dead from 2013, the synopsis for which is as follows. 5 friends head to a remote cabin where the discovery of the Book of the Dead leads them to unwittingly summon up demons living in the nearby woods. Sound familiar? Well, it should, because it's pretty much the exact synopsis for the original, which is great. But how did they do? It's like, who plays Ash? I see a woman on the cover. Do we get a woman Ash this time? Who can possibly compete with Bruce Campbell held to the chin? Nobody. No Ash. This is a remake. Remakes a situation and the book, a bit more than the exact story, and definitely doesn't remake the characters, for the most part, even though there are some attributes and characteristics that are similar to in the original film. But we get a new set of characters who, for a different reason, are in this cabin in the woods where they encounter the Necronomicon, also known as the Book of the Dead. So, rather than a group of friends, heading to a cabin to get away from it all, like in the original, this one they changed it up a little bit more. So these characters are basically out there kind of like an intervention or detox for somebody. They're trying to get a character off, I believe it was heroin or something along those lines. And so it's a much more serious situation as to why they're out there. And while at this cabin, one of the group finds the Necronomicon kind of wrapped in plastic and barbed wire, a very healthy looking thing. A very good sign to just leave it the hell alone, but in good horror movie fashion, they decide to investigate. And while they investigate, they try to read some of it, and as they do, we get right into the gory insanity of Deadite attacks. So, like we had in the original, as well as in Evil Dead 2, this one's a bit more serious than Army of Darkness. It's even more serious than the sequel, Evil Dead Part 2. But anyways, this one really seems to have taken inspiration from the original first film more than the later two. And that, along with this new cast of characters, this new storyline within it, and sticking to making this a remake, focusing on the situation in the book is where they went 100% right. And this is what a remake should do, in my opinion. You got to remake the soul of the original. You really have to play into that a lot. You have to stick strong to that inspiration and not deviate too much from it, so it seems like a completely different film that's just using the same title. But you have to make it different enough that it's worth checking out. You don't want to do like a shot-for-shot remake like they tried to do with Psycho, where you just wonder why even watch this, when later down the years with Bates Motel, that kind of made more sense. It's the whole thing where you want to change it up enough to make it worth it, but not so much that it's just not Evil Dead. So in my opinion on this one, they executed all those points perfectly. At no point was I comparing any of these characters or plot points to the original film, and instead was just taking it for what it was, and these people in a cabin helping someone through detox. Necronomicon is red. The detox aspect also comes across very well because we get a good way to kind of play off that, in that when this character starts seeing these creepy things happening, or they just want to leave, it's kind of being blamed that they're just hallucinating because of the detox, or they just want to leave because they can't handle it and they want to go and try to get some drugs. So it kind of works because it gives less of a reason for them to just bail and get out of there. And I only remember a few real call-outs to the original which really stood out and come back to me, such as a vine attack in the woods and stuff about the root cellar. But it isn't enough to cause me to make constant comparisons throughout the film, shot by shot, getting distracted from what this production is trying to bring to the screen. And finally, the best part of seeing this, the inspiration of that original brought into this film, I believe, is the blood and gore. They upped this to 11, 100%. They upped it to 11 and had some of the most disgusting and disturbing and flat-out gross special effects I've ever seen. Even even from some of those old crazy 80s movies that I used to watch, because I believe like in this one they had a bit of a better budget and some more ways to bring that insanity to the screen that actually worked better in this one. You know, we have this crazy, disgusting, like tongue splitting and eye poking stuff, and at best estimate maybe hundreds of gallons worth of fake blood. So much so that I think if you watch one of the stars, Jane Levy, in the show Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, you could probably still see bits of blood in her ear and hair. I mean, they were just completely, literally rained down upon with this blood. It's completely disgusting. But none of that gore was misused, however. You know, it's while it is indeed over the top, it was used in all the correct places, so it never felt like they kept shoving it in your face until you got desensitized and bored with it. They had a good enough story going along the way and a good enough character development going along the way that as that gore and the violence came, it would stick out and be shocking, but never be there long enough and consistent enough for you to not be kind of disgusted by it, in my opinion at least. But you know, I really felt like they did a great job with this one because we had all these things that I loved, you know, them being out in the middle of nowhere. There's no way to get out once everything was popping up because they read from this book, so they can't easily escape that situation. We get a ton of that mystery, you know, we're trapped in that mysterious and horrific situation that they don't know how to get out of. And we have an unseen entity, so it pops in and out in various forms at crazy times and with lots of violence and gore that they have to try to overcome it, you know, in a different way than the original as well, and much more intense and convoluted way to kind of undo the horrors that were unleashed from that Necronomicon. So needless to say, I enjoyed this one quite a bit. You know, they executed what, in my opinion, a remake should be. Heavy inspiration from the original, changed up enough to have it stand on its own, but at the end of the day, one can watch the original and the remake and enjoy them both separately for what they are. With really the original one only beating out this one, in my opinion, just because of nostalgia, having grown up seeing that film. And at the time of this recording, I believe this is available on Pluto with ads, but it's also via, you know, a lot of different rental sources. And we also get a new installment coming up, I believe, in about a week or two for Evil Dead Rise, which from the trailers and early reactions, it seems to be quite positive. I think it's going to be good. But as a quick sidetrack here, let us also not forget about Ash vs. the Evil Dead from Starz, which is available on Starz, Netflix, Amazon Prime. It's that continuation of what happened after the Army of Darkness movie. That one also, it kind of merges the comedy of Army of Darkness with the seriousness of the first Evil Dead a little bit better, and it's a really great show. You got 3 really great seasons out of that. So now, with this film, we have, you know, the original, we have the sequel, we have the reboot, or, you know, the sequel/reboot Evil Dead 2. We have Army of Darkness, we have the continuation of Ash vs. the Evil Dead. Now we've got this remake, and we've got Evil Dead Rise coming, so a lot of cool Deadite stuff to enjoy. Lots of great content out there, and really a great franchise, which in my opinion, you know, none of these entries within it fall flat in any way. They all have their merits. And I consider them to really be top tier horror. But the fact that I even enjoyed this remake to this extent is amazing and exactly what I wanted from a remake. So again, needless to say, I really enjoyed this one. It's absolutely worth checking out. And speaking of checking out, thanks for checking out this latest video of mine and for sticking around to the end. Like I said before, please give me a like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Thanks for sticking around, like I said. But sound off in the comments. Have you seen this one? What's your thought on the franchise as a whole, or specifically this remake? Are you excited about Evil Dead Rise? If you've watched this after Evil Dead Rise has come out, did you see it? What did you think? Anyways, thanks for stopping by, and I will see you in the next one.